Today we're going to be looking at lesson 6.4, the percent equation. So similar to the percent proportion that we've been doing it, you're using it to find either the part or the whole or the percent. The equation that they're giving you is A equals P times W, where A represents your part, P represents your percent, and W represents your whole. So to represent that A is P percent of W, that's the equation that we're using. There are really pros and cons to each of them. The equation is definitely your best bet if you're just trying to find the percent of the number because it's just straight multiplication. So this is probably like what your parents use when you're out trying to find tax or tip or discounts. If you want to know how much money you're saving, if you're finding, let's say, 30% off of something, you would start by finding 30% of the price to see how much money you were saving. And you would just multiply 30% times the $25. So that's really your best method if you're looking for A or for is. It works perfectly fine for the other two as well. You just would have to solve a one-step equation. The other thing that's important about using this is that when you're using the percent, when you're plugging in the percent, you have to use either the fraction or decimal version, or if you're using a calculator, you have to put the percent symbol in. So if you're trying to find, say, 15 is, this would be 50% of 30. You'd have to either type 50% times 30 or change it to a decimal and use 0.5. So let's look at this example. What number is 24% of 50? We're looking for the is. We have the 24%, we have the of, we have our whole here, and we're looking for the part or the A. So in this case, I'm going to leave by A and just plug in what I know. I want to know what is 24% of 50. And we know just from kind of writing equations that of tells us to multiply. So this should not be super new learning to you either. Now at this point, if you're using a calculator, you could literally type in 24, the percent symbol, times 50, or you may want to change it to a decimal. So if you do that, then you would do 0.24. Let me just put that zero then, make it clearer. 0.24 times 50. Oops. Okay, if we're doing that, you're going to just plug it into your calculator. 24% times 50 gives you 12. So 24% of 50 is 12. Let's look at the next one. Now this one says 9.5 is what percent of 25? So we're looking for, we just kind of circle what we know, are what percent. We're looking for P. We know again that of tells us to multiply, and this is our whole. So let's plug into the equation. Our A or our part is 9.5 is, is or equals. We know that those words are also interchangeable. We don't know what the percent is, so we're going to keep that as P, but we know that our whole is 25. So this is saying 9.5 is what percent of 25. Now this is just a one-step equation where I'm multiplying. If I'm multiplying P times 25 in order to solve for P, I'm going to have to just divide, sorry, let me change that color, divide both sides by 25. Again, just a one-step equation like you're used to doing. So if I were to do 9.5 divided by 25, that gives me 0.38 is equal to P. Okay, and then just taking that, if I want to know what percentage that is, I would multiply it by 100 or move the decimal point 2 places to the right, and that would give me my final answer of 38%. Okay, and then the last one, 39 is 52% of what number? Now I have my is, I have my percentage, and I'm looking for my whole here. What number are we talking about that I'm taking? When I take 52% of it, I end up with 39. So again, I'm going to just plug in what I know. 39 is or is equal to 52% times what number? Okay. We're going to go through and solve this. Again, I'm multiplying, so I need to divide both sides by 52. Again, making sure that I'm multiplying by 52%. 52% would be the same thing as 0.52. So either use your percent symbol or change it to a decimal. 39 divided by 0.52 gives me 75. So 75 would be my whole. Just to recap what that is saying, 39 is 52% of 75, and that would be my whole there. Okay, let's just look at this last example. I'd like you to try this one. So it says find the percent of sales tax on the total, on the food total. So if my food total is 27.5 and it gives me my tax is 1.65, they're looking for the percentage. How much of percent did they charge me in tax? So I know my part is 1.65 and that's equal to, I don't know my percentage, so I'm going to leave that blank, my percentage of the $27.50 that I paid for my food. So to do this again, you're just going to divide both sides by $27.50. When I do that, the answer that I get is 0.06 equals P. So then you have to ask yourself, what is that really telling you? What percent of the bill did you pay? 0.06 would be 6% that you paid in sales tax, which is pretty reasonable. Okay. Final question, find the amount of a 16% tip on the food bill. Again, you're finding 16% of the total. This is where you would just straight up use multiplication. And again, what people probably do generally when they go out. I know that I'm paying a 16% tip on my bill, which is $27.50. I'm just going to multiply $27.50 times 16% or 0.16, and that would mean that the tip that I would leave would be $4.40.